This Hangout on Air presents our theme for the week. If you're live with us on this Hangout, you're welcome to join us on our conference line for our continued discussion after the Hangout. Please dial in using the number on your screen. We'd love to hear your questions and comments. Our discussion of the theme for the week also continues on our open call each week on alternating Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you're watching the recorded video, we'll be adding pop-up links with more information about us and our extended audio recording. Robin will be bringing through Terah for us today, so we welcome Robin and Terah.
Welcome. There was an Esther Hicks Abraham Law of Attraction quote this week that caused a bit of a stir for some of those in this community. So we're going to see if we can unravel that a little. In the process of that, we'll talk about whether some things are easier to create than others. And just in case you're tempted to throw your hands in the air and ask why us gurus can't all get together and get our stories straight, we'll start by talking about what we're doing here right now, this thing called channeling. Surely you might think, if Terah is some spiritual being with a godlike perspective on all things, then what is being channeled must be the truth. Well, you don't have to explore your internet very far to discover that there are all manner of apparently sincere people out there channeling a variety of different entities with a variety of different stories, some incredibly detailed and many contradicting each other. What's going on here? And how do you decide what to believe? Let's give you our perspective. Channeling in this way is about alignment and consciously hooking into your connection to source. You're all doing it unconsciously anyway. The entity or group of beings you intersect with is going to match your beliefs and expectations and what you're looking for and what you're ready and open to hear. Not all entities vibrate in exactly the same way, just as you physical beings do not. So what attracts one group of entities may not be the subject that excites us, for example. That being said, when you intersect with non-physical being or beings, they will be a match to you and will meet you where you are. The intentions of all beings, physical or non-physical, are unique. Channeling is perhaps not a great word for describing this process. Think about what happens when you speak. You're not consciously choosing words to say. You have a thought you want to express, and your subconscious translates that into words and speaks them. If you've tried public speaking, you know that you cannot do it at all successfully until you give up trying to choose your words consciously. The same subconscious things are going on in this process here. There's some conscious involvement, but most of it's subconscious. The thought is collaboration. The words are a translation. And the story that is told is always going to be aligned with the beliefs of the translator. We, Terah, as we are called in this community, and Abraham through Esther Hicks, are very aligned in our interests. As aligned as you could say any two groups of ever-changing, swirling, non-physical energy could be said to be aligned. The difference is more in the channeler than the channelee. This one, and Mary Beth and Rachel, all comfortably use the name Terah. And yet those of you who have been with us for a while have come to know, and indeed to value, that there are differences in words, in tone, and in emphasis between these different versions of us. As we said, ultimately the story that is being told is always going to be aligned with the unique tapestry of beliefs that each translator has. Recognizing this, those leading this community have taken as their mission to get to the simple and fundamental truth that sits beneath every story. Because if you can avoid complexity and come from that story-less place, you can most easily step in any direction you want to go. And as their understanding has evolved, so has the way we collaboratively express things. Having said that, clearly there is nobody, including us, who can tell you what to believe. Take what makes sense to you. Take what feels good to you. Leave the rest. Your emotions are key. They are your guidance system. When you're feeling good, you're heading in the direction of your desires. Nothing is more important. Part of that evolved understanding is that even though it seems you're in a physical, ongoing, continuous reality, you're not. If you were in a one world shared with everybody else, then the promise of the law of attraction, that there's nothing you cannot be, do, or have, would make no sense at all. Because your desires would always, to some extent, conflict with the desires of those around you. Your reality is virtual. It's in your mind. It's your world. It exists in many versions, and you step between those by the belief choices you make. You don't have to deal with things and people as they are. You're creating them as they are. It's all an inside job. This idea that it's not one world, but your world unique to you, was a real breakthrough for this one. And although at first it was mind-boggling, once he got it, all the puzzle pieces fell into place. To the extent that you don't get it, if you're trying to explain how the law of attraction works, the story gets complex. Although there have been in recent times in this one's world, yours may be similar, some wonderful descriptions from Abraham through Esther Hicks of how you exist on your own vibrational island. Most of the time, the explanations are very one-world oriented. The particular quote that got everybody's attention this week was from 2003. It was two statements. The first is, there will always be war. You're never going to come in agreement as a mass consciousness that this is the way. There will always be disagreements. Therefore, there will always be turmoil. There will always be war. The other statement, our favorite, is well-being will always abound. So you can decide at any point in time in what part of this you want to play. You can use anything as your excuse to align with well-being, or you can use anything as your excuse to not align. We think the thing that's at the heart of this discussion is your own personal power. We think that's what you are sort of struggling for and reaching for. More recently, 2006, they have said regarding war, no matter how close up you are to or far from the details of that war, you are sifting through the contrast of it, and you are launching your personal rockets of desire. There are big thought forms about things not wanted, but they are minuscule in comparison with the stream of well-being. You don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. You can live heaven on earth right now. You can live peace on earth right now. You can live prosperity on earth right now. Of course, we would say there is not one world, and so there will not always be war. There will not always be any specific thing. If there's war in your world, it's because you have chosen to believe that's the way things are. But as Abraham says, you can truly, and we would say literally, live in peace on earth right now by choosing that version of your world to inhabit. But perhaps this raises for you the question, are some things more difficult to create than others? Does it feel as if it's harder to change global facts about the world than change some of the smaller circumstances of your personal life? Do some things have bigger momentum to overcome than others? From that same 2003 Abraham session, your guidance system is so powerful, it is a wonder to us how it is so easy for many of you to miss it. And we know the answer. It is that you've trained yourself to observe. You've trained yourself to be objective. You've trained yourself to weigh the pros and cons, the pluses and the minuses. You want to be objective. That objectivity, of course, can get in the way of getting your mind around concepts like multiple versions of reality. But if you sit with it for a while, you'll get it. There's nothing about this game that's beyond your ability to understand, at least conceptually. And that understanding gives you confidence. From us through Rachel this week. We will hand it to you humans that your physical reality is quite mesmerizing. When you are in the moment, it feels like that's the way it is. We get it. We really get it. So that's why we so love any tools or practices you do in which you're able to lighten up on it, to just go, oh, okay, I see. This isn't a judgment on me. I'm not a bad person. This isn't the way it is because I'm paying for something terrible I did. It is simply the way I have chosen to look at life. It's the lens through which I have looked at life. But I can change the lens. Yes, it's easy to get caught up in this game of life on earth you've created. It's a magnificent game, and it is mesmerizing. But here's the simple and absolute truth. Things are as they are because, and only because, that's what you've chosen to believe and expect. There is no real co-creation. There is only your creation into which you have invited us and everyone else to come and play. But it's your movie. And in that movie, we are all faithfully following your screenplay, even as in our movie, you are faithfully following ours. We intersect occasionally when we match up. We have some shared scenes, but they are not the same movie. So if some things seem inherently more persistent than others, it's only because of the way you've been practicing that thought. Just remember this. If your mind has the ability to conceive a new idea and a new way of being, then you have the power to choose to believe in that new idea. And you can be that new version of you, which steps you into a new matching version of your virtual reality. From Neil Donald Walsh. A statement of what you choose to be real can become real through the simple act of choosing it and continuing to choose it. This is where the tools and practices we have offered and others in this community have offered come in handy. It is the choosing and continuously continuing to choose that is the key, particularly with those more well-practiced habits of thought. Also remember this. Anytime you're feeling bad in any way, what you are sensing within you is that you are heading away from what you want. And you have the inherent power to choose a new direction. So we say, stop, turn in a new direction, head towards what you want. Good. As always with these short introductions, we are conscious that there may be some very big and perhaps new ideas in all of this. And we welcome this opportunity to mix it up with you and answer any questions you may have.
If you've been live with us on this Hangout, our discussion continues now on our conference line. You're welcome to join us and bring your questions and comments. Use the number on your screen. If you're watching the recorded video, click the pop-up links on your screen for more info about us and the audio of the full call. And if you'd really like to change your life in the next 12 months, we have 2 fantastic programs you can join right now. Check us out at theloaclub.com/programs.